but the economy is strong. Why don't more Americans feel that way?
Because it's been a very hard couple of years. Polls go up, polls go down. We all know this. I know you all talk about this very often, so we know that's a reality.
Voters are even less enthused about Biden running again than Trump, a low bar. How do you respond to that fact that a whopping 58% of Democrats and Democrat-leaning independents want someone other than the president to run?
Well, there are many different polls out there.
There are, and they're all pretty bad for President Biden. Even the notoriously liberal ladies of The View can't seem to understand the disconnect between President Biden's economic rhetoric and how the American people feel. To be fair, it's bewildering and frustrating to the White House. Tonight, he will list a long list of accomplishments, and he has gotten a lot of his agenda passed. But 62% of Americans think Biden has accomplished not very much or little to nothing during his presidency. 36% say he has accomplished a great deal or a good amount. With us now, Scott Tranter, Director of Data Science at Decision Desk HQ, America's premier polling group, Kurt Bardella, Democratic strategist, LA Times contributor, and former House GOP Oversight Committee advisor. Gents, good to see you both. Kurt, to you. We are going to hear a lot of ideas from President Biden, billionaires tax, capping prices on this, on and on, things that are absolute dead on arrival. Would he be better off acknowledging the pain that Americans feel to probably do a little bit more to help his poll numbers?
Well, I think you're going to see a president do both of those things. I don't think you have to do one or the other. They're not mutually exclusive. You can be the president that's up there saying, I feel your pain. While this economic recovery has been historic, it's been robust, most jobs created in 2 years in history, there are still people who have been left behind. There's still people who are struggling, and he's going to acknowledge that tonight. But he's also going to talk about his agenda, the things that he wants to get done, and he should. The idea that something is dead on arrival before he's even had the chance to talk about it, I think that says more about the partisanship in Congress than it does about the president.
Well, and there's a lot of partisanship in Congress. Scott, this comes to you. How much of what we see in these polls is about how people feel? That sort of no amount of cajoling, convincing, listing accomplishments, telling them that we have 500,000 new jobs this month can change if the price of eggs are going up, for baby formula can't be found.
Well, it's exactly what it is. At this stage in the election cycle, and I do say election cycle, we're 18 months out from the primaries, 2 years out from the general election. This is all about how people feel. And this is a continuation from the polling we saw going into the midterms last year, where inflation from start to finish was the #1 issue. From start to finish, it was how much people were having to pay at the grocery store, for a home, for milk, etc. There was some good jobs news, but that was factored into the most 3 recent polls we've seen before, in the last week or so, along with all of the good economic messaging. And still across the board, it looks like President Biden will get a renomination if he runs, but he's going to have a tough time against a DeSantis or a Trump presidency.
Yeah, and still, to be fair, in the midterms, President Biden did better than basically any modern Democratic president has.
Yeah.
With all the issues you pointed out. There is this feeling, though, right, that things just aren't working. Price of eggs, baby formula shortages. It's hard to imagine. Yesterday, we were talking about the 2 near-crashing incidences of the plane in Austin, the 2 flights in Austin, the 2 flights at JFK, big problems at the FAA. Today at Newark, planes ran into each other. Kurt, how worried should Democrats be that if Republicans get a good alternative, can't beat somebody with nobody,
right,
that the American people are going to vote with 71% saying we're going in the wrong direction?
See, again, when I look at these polls and the question of would you rather have person A or person B, or how dissatisfied are you with that, I think to myself the only question that actually matters is if Joe Biden is on the ballot and Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis is on the ballot, are you still going to show up and vote? Are you still going to vote for Biden? That's what really matters. And we saw in the last midterm, every indicator said this was going to be a wipeout for Democrats, right, that it was going to be a bloodbath. Republicans were openly talking about a 60-seat majority. They were talking about sweeping the Senate. They were talking about winning governorships, state houses. And the exact opposite happened. And so that just tells me intuitively, I don't really care about artificial poll numbers and questions trying to create narratives. Do you like Biden? Well, no, but this is the thing.
It's his business.
Like, and that's it right there. There's a business model to it. It gives people like us something to talk about.
There's a business model and talking
for Joe Biden. They're still going to talk about Joe. They're still going to vote for Joe Biden, whether they like him or not. Come on.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.